Incredible place on the Mediterranean. Who's he with? He's with his wife. She wakes up and has a dream. Does he sleep in the police station in Antonio's fortress, or is he in the Roman pagan palace of King Herod with this water park? He's in this palace. Caiaphas, the Gospels, John, it says he's taken to the Roman governor's palace. He's the governor. He is not. He is a general, but that's like saying Trump is going to go sleep in the barracks with the snipers. It doesn't happen.
So after Jesus was captured on the Mount of Olives, he was also taken to
They
Caesarea?
take him to the western. Nope, they take him to the western hill with the scribes and the elders. That's 8 minutes down the street.
Okay.
And then they take him to the Roman governor's palace. Here.
Not to Praetorium or whatever it was.
Praetorium has two definitions when you look it up.
Okay.
All right. When Pontius Pilatus goes out to Bethlehem or Ramallah, this is truly podunk world.
Okay.
They have no buildings. They sleep in tents. A really big, nice tent is called Praetorium. When they come to a city and they have structures, what's the second definition and major definition of Praetorium? Roman governor palaces.
But Caesarea is like an hour away, isn't it?
Pontius Pilatus was in Jerusalem. He comes here with his wife,
Okay.
right? Because it's Pesach and he has to have a presence here. So somewhere from Zion Gate, from Jaffa Gate down to Zion Gate, which is kind of where we're going to walk, is the entire palace. You're in just a little piece of it right here. And there's a water spigot over there. There's a water spigot over there. These are cisterns that are 2,000 years old. They still work today. You can see the water pump.
Yeah.
Come here, I'll show you one. We have to, wherever I'm moving, we got to move because we got lots to do. This is your typical one. This is 90 feet deep. This is not a small structure. This whole thing is the hole in the ground 90 feet deep. Okay, and they're all over this property. They had Roman baths, saunas. They're doing their orgies and partying and eating, drinking for 3 days. We Jews are sitting around and cleaning them up and feeding them all day. These things are everywhere, right? Yeah. So if you build a pool in your backyard, what do you attach to the swimming pool? Pool house, besides that. Pool house. Picture this whole dining hall being open air. I'm going to show you how I know that. These are original capitals and these are original bases. They are found down below. This whole building is lined up with these because this is an open air bathhouse overlooking the botanical gardens and all these different pool and bathing areas out here. Well, what's the first place in the Bible that this probably comes into play? Who does King Herod, the psychopath that dies in the year 4 BC, who does he send for? He sends for 3 people that he wants to entertain. The Magi. Because they're going to go to Bethlehem, and he's trying to bribe them into going and bringing back information on this new baby so he can go and visit him and worship him, which is going to kill him. So he's going to wine and dine the Magi and all of their company. This is as real as any of that biblical story coming to life. To put it into perspective, come this way. In 1910, we dig down to bedrock to build the school for girls or to expand on it. There's a piece of a wall down there that goes at an angle to the Tower of David right there. The top half of that tower is Ottoman. Only the bottom half of that one structure is King Herod's stuff. The rest of that is Crusader and Ottoman. Everything else you see, right? That, according to Gabriel Clark, he is the Pope of archaeology. He says that is part of the first wall from Hezekiah and Nehemiah, and it goes straight on down, and we're going to go see where it connects to Hezekiah's broad wall, right? And so it goes at an angle. Why is the wall there? Because the shopping street over there, David Street, gets locked out. shopping street right over there. That's the David Street. That is a valley as deep as the Kidron until the last few hundred years. It gets filled in. So that valley goes all the way down to the to Mount Zion and Mount Moriah. That protects the city of David from the north. You have the Kidron Valley on the east and the Tyropian on the west. This is why the Jebusites laughed at King David. They're completely protected. And these valleys are at a 90-degree angle. Today with the Merkava tank, you can't get up to the city of David. You have to come in underneath it from the top. If you don't protect this area, we could get our troops into the city of David and firebomb, or excuse me, to the Jewish quarter and firebomb into the city of David and burn them out. You've always had a citadel of some sort right here. How do we know? Because right over there, this is a whole half a day worth of stuff. There's something called the key slab. If you go to the key slab, it's really fun. They have Canaanite wall, Solomon and David wall, Zerubbabel. Do you know who Zerubbabel is? He builds the second temple 7 years after the first. Nehemiah builds the walls with the weapon and the shovel in his hand. And Ezra finds the scroll. Zerubbabel builds temple number 2. 400 years later, Herod comes and builds temple number 3. So, over there you have the Canaanite wall, and on top of that, some of Solomon's walls, Zerubbabel, you have Antioch. There's always been some sort of a fortress to keep the troops from getting into the Jewish quarter, which is where we're heading. All of that is outside the wall. Now, if Yeshua is tried inside the palace, you have to get him this way. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is 150 meters there. The Garden Tomb's the other way. I don't care which one you like. You have to drag him this way. Why does it matter? Because I'm going to give you more archaeology. Underneath that satellite dish right there is a pool. If you go up there, pay 5 shekels and look straight down, that's an ancient pool. What happens to Jesus when he comes outside the wall? He falls down, and who's there? Simon of Cyrene. Where's Cyrene? It's in Egypt or Libya or something. All right. It just says that Simon is in the country. He's outside the wall. Is he coming to the city or is he leaving the city? We don't know. It doesn't matter. Whether you are about to travel in the desert or if you just finished traveling, what must you do? Water your animals and wash yourself, and that is a public pool right there, 50 meters from the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is probably the crucifixion site. All of this archaeology and Bible begins to come to life, as in as real as you can get it. If on another day, if you want to, we'll take you back down underneath the coffee shop. We go down to ground level. It's undisputed because you're standing next to bedrock. This is probably an area where they were dragging him right out of the garden gate. That thing down below is where it goes to the room.
Two of us have been down there.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in the Armenian quarter. How does that happen? Armenian tavern. Armenians are an ethnic race. I want to talk about a little bit up here. You're talking about the theological difference? Yeah. We'll talk about that in a second.
На вечернем.
The only Orthodox creed similar creeds run.
No, they're all as different as the Baptists and Lutherans and Methodists. Okay. So in 1947-48, Israel, we are coming to take the city. we can't take the city over 5 different tries. And so we back away. And then what happens? Jordan has a city. Jordan, right? And what do? They destroy everything that's Jewish. All right, so right now, you see these stones? In just a minute, you're going to see a definitive timeline of when we take the city back in 47. What's the 2 things we get ready to do? We want to do 2 things that are completely diverse. Israel. Israel.
Yeah.
Nope, I am not British. I'm Israeli. I'm a Jew. I get paid by the Brits. So what do we do in 1967? There's 2 things we want to do.
Oh.
We want to build. We take it. We take the city. We own it. We want to build, but what else do we want to do? We want to dig. We want to go get the history. 2 diverse problems, right? So we immediately start building in some areas. Some areas we're allowed to start digging. And then these areas, once we find really important stuff, we cover it and we build on top of it. These are the underground museums. If you ever get free time, you need to come to all these museums. We'll talk about 1 or 2 of them in a minute. But we're going to see the definitive timeline. When Jordan is in control between 48 and 67, they burn and destroy everything that's Jewish. Why don't they destroy the church that looks like a synagogue? The argument was, before the British were completely removed from their property and didn't own it for 20 years, they were outside in the new city of Jerusalem. They lose their property, Jordan also. So that means they're occupying land right this minute, but that's another story. Jordanian takes care of everything, destroys everything that's Jewish. The building of Christ Church is in the shape of a cross. But more importantly, the bishop ran down to the ultra-Orthodox Christians and begged them for a cross. So if you come to Christ Church on Sunday morning, you will see that the preacher will walk out and put a cross out there. That's the cross that they barred in 48. That's the only thing. So they weren't happy about it. They were going to destroy it anyway, the Jordanians. But instead, they used it as a delicing facility for 20 years. We are in the Armenian section, the Armenian quarter. How does Armenians get an entire quarter of the old city? Where's Armenia?
North of Turkey.
Yeah, north of Turkey.
All right, so it's way up there in the north of Iraq and to the east. Right? They don't have a country nowadays because Turkey killed 1.5 million of them 100 years ago. Okay? We're going to read all that stuff. We'll walk by, you'll see all the signs. But what's in Armenia? There's a mountain range called Ararat.
Oh.
What's in the mountain range?
Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark is there. They know of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that destroyed the world. And who are these Armenians? Who are they not? They're not Jews. And before the year 70, who are the only people that have a way to be atoned for sins? Only the Jews. God says, I've chosen you, and you can atone for sins on Yom Kippur, and then you can come and give sacrifices at all the high holy days, right? So, what about the rest of the world that God creates? What are they to do? They're praying. They're waiting on what? The Jewish Mashiach. They're waiting on him. And as soon as the Armenians hear of Yeshua HaMashiach, what do? They come here almost as a nation in the year 281. They arrive, and they have kept themselves separate, and they have an entire quarter of the city. They know of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they come here because they hear of the Mashiach. This is how they get here. You can go and talk to them more about their theology. They're not going to believe and think the way you do. It's something different. They most certainly are not along the lines of the Catholics whatsoever. They're completely different.
Wow.
So the best thing to do is go to the Armenian Tavern and talk to Hebrew. He will give you some idea, but you're going to be shocked that these Christians, one of the first Christian groups ever, they don't think anything the way you do. It's completely different.
They believe Yeshua is the Messiah, though? Or no?
Yes. But is he God? Did he actually die and rise from the dead? These are things you have to discuss with them. Okay, so we're going to look for a timeline.
We actually up here this morning.
Did you what?
We had breakfast here around the corner.
Yeah.
This is an actual physical timeline. This is 67, and that's pre-67. You'll see these timelines everywhere. This is given the genocide recognition right here. Here's what we did it as a state within the past week or so. So these timelines are all over the place. Israel made another announcement acknowledging the
Genocide.
I mean, you know, Turkey is like you're crazy. That's a complete imaginary thing. It never happened. And then they changed it. Look, you're seeing timelines. This is Mamluk. This is about 1350. The red, black, and white stuff. You don't see it up here too much. This is very faded. So that arch is really old. The Mamluk.
Landmark.
So we're getting back into pre-67 walls, and then we'll come up here. We'll see post-67 walls.
The door here with the arch.
All of them, yep, they're all over the place. Or maybe even going into a whole neighborhood. And then the little kitty door.
Now we ate breakfast right there.
Where?
With a lady named Linda.
Oh yeah? That's
American who's now.
Her daughter works in Texas, right? Huh? Her daughter works in Texas.
She's secretary, Linda is her.